Okay. Welcome, everybody. Um, we're glad you're here, and we're we're having some technical difficulties this morning, or this afternoon. In fact, our praise and worship is completely not able to. Um, we're not even going to be able to have praise and worship this morning. Um, our praise and worship team has tried for hours to get our praise and worship uh, to record and to do properly. And for some reason, we're just not able to get it done. We desperately need to get some better recording equipment and better sound equipment. So, just one of those things that we've got to have. So we're asking for your help in that regard. But of course, in the meantime, we certainly want to thank you for coming along and joining us and being here with us today. And we hope that even though it's a little bit rough, we're still going to enjoy having a word from the Lord as we begin looking forward into 2021. Again, I want to thank Mike and Teresa for bringing the word and the worship last week. Um, Now, what a crazy end of the year and beginning of the year this has already been for me, as we have just absolutely um, the in and out of the hospital and things of that sort has just really been over the top. So let's begin with a few announcements, if we can. Again, we're trying to get everything up and running here properly. And so this is totally uh, totally different for us how we're having to do this. But again, we're glad that you're with us and that you're here. Uh, don't forget, we have a lot of things coming up for the rest of January. January is, believe it or not, a very full month for us. Beginning this Saturday, we begin our Cup of Water ministry again, where we will be going out uh, during the day and bringing a cup of water to those who are out on the streets. Being homeless, being down and out uh, during the coronavirus, during the winter, that doesn't, that doesn't take a break. That doesn't take any time off. That's still happening. And so, people are still hurting, people are still suffering. And we want to be, you know, the Bible says if you give even just a cup of water in my name, you've done it unto the Lord. And so we want to be a ministry. We want to be a blessing to these people, even if all we can do at this point is to just bring them a cup of water. Be able to say, you know what, we can't do much else. We don't have a facility to where we can feed you. We don't have a facility where we can take you in for the night or give you warm clothes, but we can at least give you a cup of water. And so we're going to be doing that again. That starts up this Saturday. And so we want to be a part of that. We want you to be a part of that with us. And of course, you can contribute online to that and give and contribute to that and be a part of that ministry. Cup of Water. Um, Go to any of our online giving platforms. We'll have that screen up in a bit where you can contribute, show, and just put a note. Say this is for Cup of Water Ministry, where we will use that money to go and purchase water. We'll purchase hot cocoa and things of that sort. When we set up a tent and we give out a cup of hot cocoa uh, for when the weather is cold like it is, and we literally just had a cold front come through New Mexico. Some parts of New Mexico have been covered in snow, and I guess we did not get snow in where we're at, but we did get the cold. So again, we'll we'll be doing that. We'll be setting up where we'll be handing out some hot cocoa and cups of water, bottles of water, to just try to be something for our community. So we want to be a part of that. Excuse me. In addition to that, we do have coming up this next Sunday. We will be having our State of the Church address. Today is the 10th, so next Sunday is the 17th. We'll be having the State of the Church address, in which we'll be talking about where the finances that have come in have gone and where they are going, and what we're looking forward to doing in the new year. And so we want you, if you consider Grace Living Fellowship a part of your ministry, a part of your church experience, if you consider yourself to be a member of GLF, we want you to be a part of that service especially. We will probably open up where we will take some questions and answers, if we can figure out how to do that smoothly. And I don't know if we can do that, but we're going to try. We're going to try to see if we can do that where we can take some questions and answers, because we want to include you in some of the decision-making process as we move forward. If we can't do it live, we will definitely encourage you to give questions and answers in the comment sections on Facebook and on YouTube, so that we can answer those questions in future videos and we'll be able to address those. We want you to be a part of that decision-making process. I know some of the things that we're looking forward to doing in the new year is definitely moving forward with getting the cargo trailer, and as well as trying to invest in, of course, obviously, as I said before, we're trying to get some portable sound equipment, as well as moving forward with a church shuttle bus, shuttle van, where we'll be able to actually take this to the communities that we feel like God has called us to minister to. So these are things that we're looking forward to. We're going to try to break those down into manageable steps, things that we can actually accomplish. So we want you to tune in and be a part of that as well. Of course, as my health improves, as I am recovering and coming out of this surgery, I'm already feeling so much better. I had this past week. You may have wondered why we've fallen behind in our year reading the Bible through the year. We kind of fallen behind, and it's not on purpose. It's just one of those things that kind of happened because this past week, as a follow up to my surgery, and of course, again, as a follow up because I was in the hospital with COVID. I use the air quotes here. COVID. I've had to have so many follow ups with doctors that it just kind of ate into my time. Was having physical therapy and occupational therapy, and all these people coming out taking a look at me, and they're all like, we're just absolutely amazed, which again, I give total thanks to God. Absolutely amazed at how well I'm doing physically. And so they're in fact recommending that I take a completely different route in recovery. So that's always a good thing. So, we're just having to kind of roll with the punches in that regard. But my recovery is actually ahead of target, according to all the doctors and all of the therapists. So we praise the Lord for that. And hopefully, again, by the end of this month, even early next month, I should be in a state of full recovery, which means we will be able to hit the ground running, which is our hope for full ministry for the new year, and really impacting our community, which is what we want to do. We want to have a full ministry impact for 2021. So these are things that are coming up. Of course, we have Sanctity of Life, which is, again, we're going to be ministering on the next Sunday, not the Sunday coming up, but the Sunday after will be Sanctity of Life Sunday, where we'll be having ministry regarding the fullness of what we believe is what God intended for us from conception to death, and what that means, not just for the unborn, but for every person, and who has the gift of life given to them, breathed into them. I don't want to preach my sermon ahead of time, but if you're alive today, guess what? God has a plan for you. And it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter where you are status wise in this world. God has a plan for you, and that you are sanctified. You have life, God given life in you, and you are important and special. And so you're definitely going to want to listen to that message. Share that message with anybody who may be considering suicide, maybe considering abortion, maybe looking at ending their life, or ending a life of an unborn child, or maybe who has issues with people of different colors, different races, things of this sort. Trust me, this is not God's plan. We're all one in Him, and so you're definitely going to want to tune in for that message. That's coming up the Sunday after next, and then of course the end of the month. And I definitely want to show you our slide for this as a part of our announcement. Excuse me. We have our Fifth Sunday Fest, which is to say that next, or the end of the month, we have our fifth Sunday, which is, well, that's really small. I apologize for that. Our fifth Sunday, which is our, here we'll try to see if we can get it as large as we can. Fifth Sunday Festival, which is where we want to see as many of you as possible submit a video of yourself singing a worship song, singing a special, maybe even doing a worship dance, or an interpretive dance, reciting a poem, quoting a scripture, whatever the case may be, as you feel is ministry, and bringing that to us, submitting that to our Grace Living Online at gmail.com. That's our Grace Living Online at gmail.com web email address, and just put that as Fifth Sunday Fest submission. This is not necessarily a talent show, but we definitely want to have your submissions so that we can present those as a part of our worship for that Sunday. So definitely get those submissions in as quickly as possible, so we have a chance to edit and put those together and bring that to our editing software, get those together and get them ready for presentation. So that's, again, Fifth Sunday Fest submission at our Grace Living Online at gmail.com email address, and that will have that way that your submission is here in plenty of time. Go ahead and get those submitted to us, so that way we don't have to worry about it at a later, as it time gets too close to be comfortable. Right. So, having said that, let's talk about tithes and offering. I did tell you that we would be transferring over, and we have transferred over, but I don't have the information yet for our new push pay. We do still have our Secure Give up and running, but it will be canceled by the end of this month. So you can still use our Secure Give app for online giving, but we are in the process of getting that closed out. In the meantime, and we are going to be getting you the new the new push pay information just as soon as we can. So, but that will be coming. So as soon as that's available to us, to do, the things that we feel like God called us to do. Not only are we able to make the purchases that we make uh, that allow us to do the ministry that needs to be done, but it also helps us to do the maintenance and things of that sort. You say, "Well, you don't have a building." Well, that's true, but we do have bills to pay. We have things that have to be taken care of financially. We have rent to pay on a storage unit. We have other bills to pay that just require that giving. So again, your financial faithfulness to the church does allow us to continue to move forward as the Lord uh, gives us the work that needs to be done, and you're a part of that through your giving. So we want to thank you for that. Praise God. Now, before I bring the word again, because we do not have praise and worship set today, because we've had some difficulties with our recording. that's the best way to say it. We were just thrown into the midst of a storm. And um, there's really not much else that could be said about it. And to add insult to injury, the difficulties and the struggles that we were facing out of 2020, and whatever hopes and whatever anchors we were holding on to for 2021 just felt like things just dissolved, and we were struggling just to hold on to sanity, especially over this past week, this past weekend. And I was already thinking and looking at myself and thinking, you know what what does the future hold? What are we thinking about as far as the church is concerned and as far as the ministry is concerned? What does tomorrow hold for us when everything, just like I said, when it just kind of just went to pieces? And I'll be honest with you, I kind of emotionally just shut down. I just went. I really didn't know how to respond. I didn't know how to focus or think about what was occurring on the national level. You know, uh, and I And I say the world because it was the world. And we did too, to some extent, as the church, we freaked out. We didn't know what was going on. We'd never faced this before. And then the government began to overreach and began to interfere with people's rights, began to tell churches, you can't worship, you can't gather, began to tell businesses, you can't open, you can't conduct business, began to tell people, you can't even gather in your homes with family members, you can't see loved ones who are literally in the hospital dying. you know uh what a crazy, it was just insanity. It was just, wow. you know we literally lost not just people that we love, but we lost the ability to be with them. We lost the ability to say goodbye to them. We lost the ability to celebrate their lives. We couldn't even have funerals for them. We couldn't gather in churches to celebrate them. We couldn't do anything. And then the financial hardships came. Oh, we figured we could probably handle 14 days. The government slipped us a little money to help us through. But then we started losing jobs. Businesses began to shut down permanently. Even here in our small little community that we're in as a church, we've seen businesses that are closed forever. Some of them had just started. They began in January, February, early March of 2020, and before they even had a chance to get their first quarter, they were shut down. And they're like, we didn't even make enough money to stay afloat. We can't even afford to pay the rent on the building that we were in. We lost our building. We had all kinds of things. And it went beyond just buildings. It became very personal. And people who can't even pay their bills. They can't even feed their families. And the measly $600 that the government finally decided to give us at the beginning of this year is not going nearly far enough to help so many people. And again, I'm not trying to choose a political side. I'm just saying these are the facts. And it's no wonder when you have these kinds of issues that you have the political unrest that you have. You have mobs burning down whole towns. You have political unrest. You have riots across the countryside. You have politicians scheming and plotting and doing all kinds of things because they don't like one side or the other. And it's like, really? We're in the middle of one of the worst times in America, and we're seeing people who are supposed to lead us taking advantage of this moment and doing all kinds of horrible things to Americans? Really? That's what we're seeing? And then 2021 rolls around. And we see the election. We see all kinds of things happening in the middle of the night. Things that, again, not trying to pick a side. I'm just saying, as people of integrity, you have to say, what's going on? What's happening in these places in the middle of the night? And why does it always seem that things tend to happen in the wee hours of the morning? What is it about that time frame? Our guard is down, number one. We're tired. We're not paying attention. And Lord, after 2020, late in the year of 2020, we are all tired. Our guard is down. We're not paying attention. We're not where we should be spiritually, emotionally, physically, socially. That makes us afraid. And these things, whether they're founded or not, things that we shouldn't even be afraid of suddenly make us terrified. We're terrified of one another. We're terrified of people around the corner. We're terrified of our neighbors. Terrified of our neighbors having Thanksgiving at their house. We're terrified of the people at Walmart who may not have a mask on. We're terrified of a vaccine that's supposed to save our lives. We're terrified of things that we don't really know. The unknown has made us afraid. Even things that we thought we knew very well, we're suddenly absolutely frightened of. Just like those disciples in that boat, we've been struggling and fighting and going through all of this. And in the middle of the night, the one thing that should comfort us now terrifies us. We're scared. We do some crazy things when we're scared. But you know what? That's not what I want us to focus on. I just want us to realize that's where we're at. Here on this 10th day of January 2021, I want us to realize we're in that boat with those disciples. We're going through some crazy times. We've been struggling for a long time, and we're in that place where fear has gained control. But you see, there's a voice calling out to us. And we need to hear. We need to hear what that voice is saying. Here's what Jesus said in this scenario. The first thing he said that we didn't read, but it's in there. It's in the story. The first thing he said was to go. He told the disciples, "Get in the boat and go to the other side of the lake." You see, the struggle that they were facing came in the middle of their efforts to be obedient to what Christ was saying. You know, sometimes, especially as pastor, as a church planter, I get so frustrated. I get so at all of the things I have to face during this time. You know, dealing with the restrictions, not being able to meet face to face with people, not being able to do some of the outreaches that we want to do because of the government shutdowns and all those kind of things, and the financial restrictions. We're not able to get the financial support that we need from some of the mother churches, and we're having to rely on the giftings from people, just because there's no other resources. And the struggles that we're facing and the issues that we're dealing with, that if it wasn't for the coronavirus, if it wasn't for the year 2020, if it wasn't for some of these games that politicians and governments and other people have been playing, we wouldn't be dealing with, but we have to deal with them. We have to put up with them. And I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm trying to obey the Lord. I'm trying to do what God's called me to do. And yet I'm having to deal with all of this junk. I'm struggling in the midst of my efforts to be obedient to the Lord. I have to remember that the first commandment in all of this was that God told me to go. God told me to go and to be a church planter. God told me to go and minister and to do what he called me to do in this community. Notice the second thing that he says. He says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. When we're in the middle of being obedient to God's commands, we don't have to be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid. We should have confidence. We should have faith to know that if God commanded it, God's going to see it through. But sometimes we still get afraid. We still have fear because we're humans. We have our failings and our fears and our lack of understanding. We get a little confused at times and we're just like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't really comprehend. I don't see the end.